Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. It is Thin Lizzy Thursday, and this week is the random song. The song chosen by the computer. I have no control over it. It's just going to be. Oh, that is my wife's birthday present. Gonna hide that. But yeah, so I don't know what song we are getting this week for Thin Lizzy Thursday, but hopefully it's something good. You know what? I'm hoping for Blue Murder this week um, after last week's episode, which I record, two of these at a time, but I think Michael might have some blues from my Derby Blues discussion. So you know what? I'm hoping for Blue Murder for once. So I'm going to fire up that random number generator and see what song we're doing this week. All right. So now that we've got the filler music out of the way, that is one also where I don't necessarily know the composer. Uh, Want to properly credit who did that one. That was either Noriko Matsueda or Takahito Eguchi. One of those two composed that pretty little piano ballad. Quite pleasant. Um, I'm grateful for all the Japanese video game soundtracks for offering stuff that I can put in my videos while I search for the random song, because they don't get copyright stricken. So at least thank you for that, Square Enix. Um, but yeah, so this week we are doing a pre-Thin Lizzy song. We're doing "Step Into Your Shoes" from Phil's band Orphanage. Couldn't find the lyrics for this one online, but according to the description, it has the lyrics from the song Harlem, which later became the song One Wish. So, very many iterations of this tune. Uh, I've listened to this before, but truthfully, I don't remember it. So, gonna be interesting to see, how it stacks up. I don't know why I put up the lyrics on the slow computer, but I did. So, I guess I'll put the other computer away. And, yeah. Short song, only 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Yeah, let's just give it a try.
Someone from the lower class who pretend I would keep this friendship though it meant my life might end. So if you roll through, can I slip into your
All right, so that's about almost halfway through the song already. So the first verse was actually not any sharing any lyrical similarities to Harlem and later One Wish. Um, but there's sort of a beautiful poetry in the fact that so this is one of Phil's earliest songs, and then One Wish ultimately became one of his latest songs, his final songs, and so like towards the end of his life. And so the fact that he was returning to this lyrical theme, it's like the coming full circle. It's like it's tragically beautiful in a way. And this track seems to be about just I guess solidarity with the lower class, which is something that has always been sort of at the core of Phil's being is just he just really understands the wide spectrum of human experience. And as mentioned before in other videos, Phil was kind of famously a socialist, left-leaning, and so obviously that extends to generally there is a more compassion towards the poor and the working class from the leftist perspective because that is the political ideology that more encourages like social programs and things like that to alleviate the burden and like handicap that the poor have by being poor and not being able to afford stuff. So they're the types who like, oh, let's expand food stamps rather than cut food stamps is, generally the perspective. And so this song, Step Into Your Shoes, is about, trying to understand the poor working class person and just having, general human decency and empathy, which is what Phil is getting at in this like kind of bouncy, like Beatlesy, like late '60s tune, but like definitely has some like Beatlesisms in terms of like the bounce to it. Definitely has that that mod rocker like kind of bounce, kind of edge to it. So it's a very fun, you know, bouncy '60s pop tune. But with these heartfelt working class lyrics, which I'd have to go back to the beginning of the song and like break down line by line exactly what he is saying. Um, and I don't know if you really want me to rewind to do that, but I think you can go back and listen to for yourself the lyric. Couldn't find the lyrics online for it, but that's what I'm getting from the piece, which is it's classic Phil line. It's one of the things I love about him. You know, I I love Ted Nugent, but I don't necessarily resonate with his lyrical themes as much as I resonate with the lyrical themes of Phil Lynott, who's someone I'm more like ideologically in line with. I am the kind of kid who like read the Bible and Jesus was like, "Oh man, help out poor people and give them food," and I'm just like, yo, that's cool. And so when Phil Lynott, who also read the Bible as a kid, was like, hey, help out poor people and give them food, I'm like, that's cool. I vibe with that, bro. So yeah, um, definitely a cool little jam. Let's get back to it. Oh, and for the folks who say don't bring politics into music, I mean that's literally what the song is about. So it's like, what am I gonna do? Just like not talk about what the song's about?
Standing in something which has eluded me. My ladder of success, snake oil and slippery. No matter where I go, essentially.
Yes, I wasn't able to make out that last section at all. I mean, this is obviously like a very like it's a bootlegger recording. Don't know if this was like commercially released or not. Um, but I will say this: I would kill for the ability to. No, I wouldn't kill, but like I would greatly enjoy if I had the ability to sing as well as Phil and to play bass as well as Phil. Um, as a bassist, he's just like he's not that much better than me. Um, but as a singer, he is leaps and bounds better. So I would love to have that vocal ability, especially at that age. That's really cool.
Thinking big is one way of getting out of what you're in. Dreaming dreams, it's easier, but the end where life begins. Hoping is the lazy man's way of getting there, but then I am wishing I was inside your
Hold on, I'm gonna rewind that.
hoping is getting out of what you're in. Dreaming dreams, it's easier, but the end where life begins. Hoping is the lazy man's way of getting there, but then I am wishing I was inside your
Hmm. Man, I wish that someone would have posted the lyrics in the comments. Which is really unfortunate. Uh, yeah. Unfortunately, some of these comments are just ragging on the uploader for like a couple typos years ago, which is like you know get over it. People made mistakes. Not that big of a deal. Um, yeah. So unfortunately, the lyrics are not in here. Um, and I could not make out that line. I'm gonna try one more time to see if I can make out that line.
terrain. Thinking big is one way of getting out of what you're in. Dreaming dreams, it's easier, but the end where life begins. Hoping is the lazy man's way of getting there, but then I am wishing I was inside your
All right, so man, I it's hard for me to like make out the lyrics with like the like lower quality of the recording and all the reverb and stuff, and also the way he's enunciating there. But it's almost sounding like there's a critique of like the folks who only like dream about doing things but don't actually put in the work to make the dreams come true, which does offer like a opposite side of the coin in the way because generally the conservative ideology is about personal responsibility, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you got to make it happen, and the liberal ideology is more about like structures and the way society is set up as a whole and looking at like the way that the game is maybe rigged in favor of one group against another. And I think there's actually importance in both. I think that you as an individual need to take responsibility for your own life and do the best you can with the cards you were dealt. Work hard to pursue the things in your life that make you happy. But by that same token, so I do believe like in the grind, like get up, go after it, like put in the work, and I think that is it's very important. But on the flip side, just because personal responsibility is a thing and it's important doesn't mean that like underlying issues don't exist and you should just ignore them and just like figure it out yourself. Like no, there are like systems that are problems that are causing people to suffer unduly and are making it where even if you put in like all the hard work, you will still be struggling. So in the screw it, just get all the political. The idea that in the United States someone can work two full-time jobs, like you can work like 80 hours a week, but if you're working both those jobs like minimum wage jobs, you are still in poverty is like insane. um, like the fact that like that is like the system that is set up is something that is problematic. From the leftist perspective. So I think there's ultimately a balance. I think you do need to take the personal responsibility, but you also need to acknowledge that like there are certain things in society that need fixing. Like if everything was just like perfectly fine the way it was, no one would complain. But when you have people who are like, working full time and barely able to scrape by, that is a problem with the structures that need to be reorganized. Um, so so yeah. Vote for progressives. Message from Greg. It's so funny in the United States. Um, for the international viewers. So in the United States, politically, like I'm actually basically a like extreme like centrist in terms of like public opinion, like the way that most Americans, like the average citizen, views politics. I'm basically like smack dab in the middle, like completely average, heterodox, kind of boring. Um, and probably by like European standards, I'm probably slightly conservative by European standards. Um, but in terms of the elected officials in the United States, I would be far left simply because the elected officials in the United States are like pretty predominantly like neoliberal and conservative. So like the Republican Party is far right, like extreme far right at this point, and the Democratic Party is like, you know, right of center but left in comparison to the Republican Party. So like the Democratic Party in Europe would be like one of the more conservative parties, but because it's the United States, it's like, oh, those crazy leftists. So it's a funny situation. But then like the actual people, the people who like care about the policy, just like none of you guys are left enough. So it's a funny state of affairs in the United States. But yeah, this song it is it's cool to hear Phil Lynott tackle a different style. It's cool to hear him as an early artist. It's cool to see that some of those lyrical themes were so good in his early days that they stuck around through his entire career, and he was still trying to find a way to make them work. Um, so I think it's a cool song. It's catchy. It's bouncy. Is it one of the best things he's ever done? No, but is it bad? Absolutely not. I think it's a catchy little tune with some thought provoking lyrics. And now comes the part where we rank it. All right, step into your shoes. Okay, okay. So I am conflicted in that lyrically, from what I can make out, this is better than "Don't Talk About Me, Baby." But I do bop to "Don't Talk About Me, Baby" more. I do like kind of jam to that more. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put it below. Step into your shoes. Yep, it is. Yeah, that seems pretty appropriate. I'm expecting in the comments this week. What am I expecting? Um, I'm expecting no one to want to talk about politics, and I'm expecting people to think that this song is probably fairly ranked. I think the least controversial thing I said this episode was this is a B rank song. Probably the most controversial thing I said is like Phil is only a little bit better of a bassist than me. That is the most controversial one. Just like I don't consider myself a great bassist. I consider myself an average bassist, and I consider Phil as a bassist to be above average. Not necessarily great, but it's like he's good. He's good. He gets the job done, but it's not just yeah, whatever. I'm rambling. Episode's done. The fan vote should be out now. Make sure you vote to see what we're doing next week. Episode's done. No more talking. All done. Talking's in the comments. Typity type. Typity type. All right. Bye, everyone.